Subway by Jack Murray Blue from Game 2009. Never got to be sure. Spending going to it. Really making the shirt. Since again and again, men tried to plant a colony on the shores of America. Again and again they failed. But with British dodgings, they went on trying and succeeded. Raleigh lay in the Tower of London a prisoner accused of treason, I'm sorry. All his lands were taken from him. Virginia, which had been granted to him by Queen Isabella, was the king's once more get to give to whom he would. So now two companies were formed, one of London merchants called the London Company, one of Philly-mouth merchants called the Plymouth Company, and both these companies prayed King James to grant them permission to found colonies in Virginia. Virginia, therefore, was divided into two parts. The right to found colonies in the southern half being given to the London Company, the right to found colonies in the northern half being given to the Phillips Company upon condition that the colonies founded must be 100 miles distance from each other. These companies were formed by merchants. They were formed for trade and in the hope of making money. In spite of the fact what up to this time no man had made money by trying to found colonies in America, but on the contrary, many have found lost fortunes. Of the two companies now formed, it was only the London Company was only the London Company which really did anything. The Plymouth Company indeed sent out expeditions which reached Virginia, but the colony was a failure. Sorry, I lost track of that. And after a year of hardships, the colonists set sail for England, taking home with them such the lawful accounts of their sovereigns that none who heard them ever wished to help to found a colony. The expedition of the London Company had a better fate. It was in December 1606 that the little fleet of three ships, the Susan Constant, the Godspeed, and the Discovery, put out from England and turned western towards the New World. The expedition sailed Captain John Smith, who was bronzed and bearded like a trunk, a swaggering, long-headed, lovable sort of man, ambitious, thing to, and not given to submit his will to others. Since a boy of 16, he had led a wandering, adventurous life, a life crammed full of heroic deeds, of hairbreadth escapes of which we have no space to tell here, but I hope someday you will read his own story of these days, for he is a writer as well as a warrior, and what his sword did is pen wrote. Early American boy and girl should read his story, for he has been called the first American writer. Now, with this saucy, swaggering fellow on board, troubles were not far to seek. The voyage was long and tedious. For 6 weeks, adverse winds kept the little fleet prisoner in the English Channel within sight of English shores, a thing trying to tempers men used to action and burning with impatience to reach the land beyond these seas. They lay ideal with nothing to do but talk, so they fell to discussing matters about the colony there to found, and from discussing they fell to disputing until it ended at length in a bitter quarrel between Smith and another of the Avenger's captain, Edward Wingfield. Captain Wingfield was twice John Smith's age, and deemed that he knew much better how a colony ought to be formed than his dict, dictatorial youth of 27. He himself was just as computers. Huh, chat, my computer is hot. Alright, we're gonna skip a little bit of this. But all the misery through which the colonists had passed had taught them nothing. They took no thought for the time to come when the food might again be scarce. They took no care of it, but feasted daily on good bread, fish, and fowl, and wild beasts as fat as we could eat them, says Smith. Now, one December day, Smith set out on an exploring expedition up the Chickamauga River. It was a hard journey, for the river was so overgrown with trees that the men had to hew a path for the little vessel. At length, the barque could go no farther, so Smith left it and went on in canoe with only two Englishmen and two Indians as guides. For a time, all went very long, but the raised clubs never fell, for with a cry, a chief's young daughter sprang through the circle of warriors. She stood beside the prisoner, pleading for his life, but the Indians were in no mood to listen to the prayers for mercy. So, seeing that all her entreaties were in vain, she threw herself upon her knees beside Smith, put her arms around his neck, and laid her hand upon his, crying out that if they would beat his brains, they should beat out. 2. Of all his many children, the Powhatan loved this little daughter best. He could deny her nothing, so Smith's life was saved. He should live, said the